The man froze in terror when he realized a tank had aimed its cannon directly at their floor. Panic surged through him. Something terrible was about to happen. He grabbed his wife and child and rushed them deeper into the house. But they hadn't taken more than a few steps before a shell slammed into the building. The blast rattled their skulls, leaving them dizzy with pain. Before they could recover, another shell struck, shaking the entire structure. Moments later, a loudspeaker blared from below. Jack quickly understood. The militants were out to wipe out every outsider. There was no escape. Thinking fast, he hid his wife and children under a slab of concrete, then dragged a corpse over the opening to block the view. Sure enough, the attackers soon stormed in, sweeping the area for survivors. Watching them slaughter people outside, Lisa quickly covered her daughter's eyes. The children were terrified into silence, and when the little girl needed to pee, Jack made her go in her pants. Making noise was too dangerous. Hours later, when night finally fell and the attackers seemed to have moved on, the family crawled out from the rubble. They scavenged whatever supplies they could find from the dead. Jack knew their only chance of survival now was to disguise themselves as locals and make it to the U.S. Embassy for help. Reluctantly, the family agreed to take the risk, but just then, noise erupted downstairs. Jack peered out and froze. 4 other foreigners had been tied up by the militants, who then ran them down with a truck. The message was clear. If they were caught, their fate would be just as gruesome. With no other choice, the family stripped clothing from the dead to disguise themselves as locals. Jack found motorcycle keys on a body, and they slipped into the parking garage. Wearing the disguises, Jack kicked the bike to life and drove straight through the mob of militants, heart pounding as they tore past. Somehow, they made it all the way to the embassy gates. For a brief moment, they thought they were safe, but instead of refuge, they found horror. The embassy grounds were littered with the corpses of soldiers. Then, out of the shadows, a group of militants emerged. Jack thought it was the end, but the next second, the embassy erupted in a massive explosion. Using the chaos as cover, Jack bolted, running for his life with his family. The militants weren't about to let them go. In desperation, Jack kicked down the door of a nearby house, begging for help. To his relief, the homeowner, a kind old man, couldn't turn away 2 frightened children. He took the family in and hid them, but soon, the militants tracked them to the neighborhood. Suspecting the family was inside, they stormed the old man's house, threatening him to reveal their location. The old man stood firm, insisting no one was there. Not convinced, the militants began searching. Hiding nearby, Jack spotted one of the attackers carelessly set his rifle aside. He edged toward it, desperate for a weapon, but in his rush, he stepped on a dry twig. The sharp crack gave him away. In that instant, Jack realized he was exposed, and doom was closing in.